Welcome back to On the Same Page. We are on Daf Yud Beis Amar Aleph 12a of Maseches Megillah. We are starting from the second line on the page. In the middle of the line it says Amar Rava. Now the Gemara was discussing the various calculations that the different kings of Babylonia and Persia, Belshazzar, Babylonia, Ahasuerus of Persia had made. They calculated regarding the 70 years of exile of the Jewish people. And they miscalculated those 70 years, how to count them, and believed that the 70 years had expired even before they had. Now the Gemara says, Amar Rava, Rava said, Af Daniel ta b'hai chushbana. Even Daniel made a mistake in terms of the cheshbon, in terms of the calculation. Dichse, because the pasuk says, Bishnas achas l'malcho. In the first year of his reign, I think it's the first year of the reign of Darius, Binosi Basfarim, I kind of explored in the books, and the pasuk says, I delved into the books, Mispar Hashanim Asher Hayad Var Hashem al Yirmiyahu, the number of years from when Hashem's word had come to Yirmiyahu, L'malos L'charbos Yerushalayim Shivim Shana, to fulfill the 70 years of the destruction of 70 years. And there's an implication here that he was like recalculating. Like originally he had miscalculated, and now he kind of had to look into it more and figure out the 70 years. So the implication is that he also, says the Gemara, Michlal de ta. You see that originally he was mistaken, and that's why he had to be binos, he had to delve in further. Okay. Now ask the Gemara, Mikol Makom Kashu Kraya Adadi, but still we have a contradiction of psukim. On the one hand it says, Ksiv, we mentioned this last week, Malos, it says on the one hand, Milos Lebavel, that it's 70 years from the fulfillment of Bavel, whatever that is, we said it's from the exile, Uksiv Lecharvos Yerushalayim, on the other hand it says, from the destruction of Jerusalem. So, when do the 70 years start? From Bavel or from the destruction of Yerushalayim? So Amar Rava, so Rava said, Lepkida ba'alma. The first pasuk the first verse is talking about Pekida ba'alma, just the remembrance. So the first pasuk, which says that 70 years from the fulfillment of Bavel, Efkod, I will remember you. That was 70 years from the exile of Yehoiachin, from the beginning of the exile. 70 years after that is when there was a Pekida, there was a remembrance, and they began to build the Beis HaMikdash, but then it was put to a stop. And the other pasuk which says L'malos Charvos Yerushalayim, from the 70 years after the destruction of Jerusalem, so that's when they actually resumed building the Beis HaMikdash and actually completed building the Beis HaMikdash. So, it says the Gemara, V'hainu d'chsiv, that's what it means when it says in the pasuk in Ezra, it says, Ka'amar Koresh melech Paras, so says Koresh, the king of Paras. He was the king who was there when they restarted building the Beis HaMikdash. Kol ma'amloch v'zaretz nasam li Hashem elokei hashamayim. Hashem has given me all the lands. V'upakad olai livnos lo bayis b'Yerushalayim, and he appointed me to build him a house in Jerusalem. So Koresh, who preceded Ahasuerus, it was in his days that they started building the Beis HaMikdash, but it was put to a stop, and that's why it was Pekida ba'alma, but that was 70 years from the exile of Yehoiachin. That's what the first pasuk was talking about, and 70 years after the destruction of Yerushalayim, which happened 11 years after. 7 years after that is when they actually built the Beis HaMikdash. Okay. Okay, Darash Rav Nachman bar Rav Chisda. Rav Nachman bar Rav Chisda made the following drasha. Sorry, I have to correct something I just said. The 70 years was from when Bavel took over Eretz Yisrael. It wasn't from when Yehoiachin was sent into Galus, into exile. It was 70 years from when Bavel from after they conquered Yehoiakim, when Yehoiakim was the king at the time, after Bavel conquered Eretz Yisrael, basically 7 years after that was the first Pekida, was the first remembrance. That's when they started to build the Beis HaMikdash, and therefore it was 18 years later that they went, actually the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed, and they went into exile, and it was 70 years after that point that they actually rebuilt the Beis HaMikdash, or began to rebuild it in a permanent way. Okay, Darash Rav Nachman bar Rav Chisda. Rav Nachman bar Rav Chisda made the following teaching. My dichsiv, what is the pasuk meaning? It says, Ko amar Hashem le'Mashicho le'Koresh. So says Hashem to his anointed one, to Koresh, Asher hechazakti biyamino, that I gave strength to his right hand. Asks the Gemara, V'chi Koresh Mashiach haya? Was Koresh an anointed one? He wasn't anointed with the anointing oil. Jewish kings were, until they hid the anointing oil. Koresh certainly wasn't. So why is he called Mashiach? Mashiach means anointed one. So Ella Amar LeHaKadosh Baruch Hu LeMashiach. So rather, the Navi is recording a conversation that Hashem is having with Mashiach, so to speak. The Mashiach. But again, it can't be literal. But it's this idea, that this expression that Hashem is expressing. He says, Kobo ani locha Koresh. He says, I have claims against Koresh. I have complaints against Koresh. Ani amarti hu yivne beisi ba'is b'Yerushalayim. I said that he would build the Beis HaMikdash v'kabetz gal Yusai, and gather in the exiles. V'hu amar, and he said, Mi bachem mikol amo v'yah. Whoever wants to come could come up and do it. So like we said in the earlier pasuk that we quoted, Koresh says Hashem has appointed me to build the Beis HaMikdash. But then, does he build it? He doesn't build it. He says whoever wants to can come and do it. So he didn't actually take up the honor and responsibility of doing it. So Hashem says, I have claims. So that's what the pasuk is telling you when it says Hashem said to Mashiach, to Koresh. It means Hashem said to Mashiach regarding Koresh that Hachazakti b'yamino, I gave strength to his right hand, and he didn't actually take up the cause. He let other people do the work. Okay. Now we go back to darshaning the Megillah. So we said that Achashverosh made a party. The Gemara said that the party was because he had calculated that the Beis HaMikdash wasn't going to be rebuilt. So it goes and then it describes the guests. So it says, Chel Paras u'Madai hapartamim. The armies of Paras, of Persia, and Madai and Media, hapartamim, the noblemen. Uksiv, but at the end of the Megillah it says, L'malchei Madayu Paras, to the kings of Madayu Paras, of Media and Persia. So there's some kind of contradiction that the Gemara is raising. What exactly the contradiction is, so Rashi says, because here it says Paras u'Madai apartamim, it says that Persia and Madai, the nobles, it sounds like Madai has nobles. And then it says, L'malchei Madai Paras, the kings of Madai Paras. Sounds like Madai has kings. The Maharsha says that it's just the Gemara is questioning the order, because in the first pasuk it says Persia and Media, Paras to Madai, and then it says Madai Paras, it switches the order and puts Media first. So what's the switch? So Amar Rava says, Asnuye asnu bahadadi. They made a condition with each other. They make a deal with each other. Iminan malchi minaychu ifarchi. if from us there's kings, from you there will be like dukes or nobles. V'minaychu malchi, and if from us there's a king, minan ifarchi, from you will be the nobles, the dukes. So there were these in the years leading up to this. Basically, there was this merger of kingdoms of Media and Persia, and so from, I guess, in different provinces, there were different kings, so to speak, appointed, and sometimes it was a Persian king, and sometimes it was a Median king. Again, these are all under the empire of Achashverosh, but the deal was, if it was a Median king, then the Persians would still have honorable positions. The Persian king, the Medians would still have honorable positions. So that's why sometimes Persians are put first, sometimes Medians are put first, depending on to bring out this idea that some of the kind of rulers of the lands were Persians, some of them were Medians. Okay, Amar Rava. Sorry, that's what we just did. Fine. Then the pasuk in the Megillah continues. It says, "Baharo so es osher kvod malchuso." So Achashverosh was showing the wealth and the honor of his kingdom. How did he do that? So, Amar Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina, melamed shelavash bigdei kahuna. This teaches us that he wore the clothes of the Kohen. I think the Kohen Gadol even, that Achashverosh put on the clothes of the Kohen Gadol. That's what Rashi says. And it's clear from the pasuk, Ksiv Hacha, because it says in the Megillah, Yikar Tiferes Kedula. So that's the continuation of that pasuk. He showed the honor of the kingdom and the wealth of Tiferes, of the splendor of his greatness. So it refers to what he was showing off as Tiferes, as splendor. Uksiv Hasam, and it says regarding the clothing of the Kohen Gadol, it says that the clothes of Aaron would be lechavod u'lesifaris, for honor and splendor. So we see that's how the clothes of Aaron are referred to, and therefore we make a drasha and learn out that those are the clothes that Achashverosh put on. And again, keeping with this theme that he was celebrating that the Beis HaMikdash was never going to be destroyed, he took out the vessels of the Beis HaMikdash, and he took out the clothing of the Kohen Gadol and wore them. Okay, uvimlos hayamim ha'elu. Now at the end of 180 days of making a feast for all the lands, he then made a feast for the people of Shushan, the capital. So Rav Ushmuel, Chad Amar Melech Bikeachaya, V'chad Amar Melech Tipeshaya. Rav and Shmuel debate. One says he was very smart to do this in this order, and one says he was stupid. Manda Amar Melech Bikeachaya. The one who says that he was very smart to do it this way, first the other lands and then the people of Shushan. Shapir Ava Dekar V'chika Bereisha. It makes sense to first bring the distant people to you, to be makar of them, to bring them close to you. Dibnei Masya, Kol Emas Debayim Efayislu, because people of his city, of Shushan, he can appease them whenever he wants. That he has more flexibility. So first, get it done. The people in more distant areas, get that over with because it's more difficult, and then the people that are local are more easy to access and more easy to appease. So it was a smart thing to do. Umanda Martipe Shaya, the one that says that he was stupid to first go after the distant people. He first should have gained the favor of the people that are in his city. In that way, if people from distant lands would rebel and try to attack him, so the people of his city would stand up for him because he drew them close he gave them a party, he appeased them. But now, if he would be attacked, they wouldn't be as friendly to him and they wouldn't necessarily stand up to defend him. So it wasn't smart to do it in this order. He should have first appeased the people that were close by. That's one opinion. Okay. Shalu Talmid of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. The students of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai asked him the following: Why did the haters of Israel in that generation, why did they merit destruction? Now, it sounds like the question is, why did their enemies get destroyed? But actually, it's a euphemism. It's talking about the Jewish people. Why did the Jewish people deserve destruction, that they were almost destroyed in the days of Haman? So Amr Lahem, he said to them, Imru atem. So Rav Shimon Bar Yochai said, you guys, you tell me. So Amr Lo, so they said to him, Mipnei shenenu misudaso shel osa rasha. The reason is because the Jewish people attended and benefited, took pleasure in the feast of Achashverosh. And that's why they were sentenced to destruction. You could say they sinned with their bodies, so they were threatened with physical destruction. So Amar Lahem, so Rav Shimon Bar Yochai said, that's, you have to fill in, the Bach adds that in. Im Kain, if that's the case, Shebeshushan Yehargu. Only the people of Shushan deserve destruction. They're the ones who attended the feast. It wasn't the Jews of all the lands. So why was the sentence against all the lands? Shebechol Kulo Al Yehargu. The people, the Jews in the rest of the world wouldn't deserve destruction. So Amrulos, the student said to him, Emorata, so you, Rabbi, you tell us, Rabbi, or Shimon Bar Yochai, you should tell us, why did they indeed deserve destruction? So Amar Lahem, he said to them, because the Jews would bow down to the idol of Nebuchadnezzar. It's going back. This is the punishment for what actually happened in a previous generation, or earlier times, in the days of Nebuchadnezzar, when he made the Jews bow down to an idol, and they did. So Amr Lo, so then they said to him, is there favoritism? Why didn't they get destroyed then? Why in the end were they saved? So Amar Lahem, he said to them, because the Jewish people would bow down to an idol, they didn't really mean it. They just did it outwardly. They were afraid. So they were forced to. So they did. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu so too HaKadosh Baruch Hu, God only threatened them outwardly. It was a facade though. It was only on the outside. It looked like they were going to be destroyed, but they weren't actually destroyed. That's because what they did was only on the outside. So again, God only threatened them on the outside. It made it seem like they were threatened. They did tshuva, and then they were saved. B'hainu d'chsiv. And that's the meaning of the pasuk. That's the meaning of the pasuk of the verse in Eicha, where it says Kilo ina milibo. It says that he did not afflict them from his heart. Meaning, I guess, he didn't really intend to afflict them. It was only a facade, so to speak, to make it seem like they were deserving of destruction so that they would do tshuva. Okay. So that's the position of this back and forth, that the student said they deserve destruction because they attended the feast of Achashverosh, and Rav Shimon Bar Yochai said, no, that's not the reason. It's because they bowed down to an idol in the days of Nebuchadnezzar. Okay. Back to the Megillah, it continues to describe the location of the party. It says, Bachatzar Ginas Bisar HaMelech. It was in the courtyard of the Gina, of the garden, of the Bisar, of the palace of the king. So, it could be read as describing different locations of the party. In the courtyard, in the garden, in the palace. Which one is it? So, Rav and Shmuel debate this. Chad Amar, one of them said, Harai l'chatzer l'chatzer, that what it means is whoever was deserving was there were different classes. Whoever was of the class to be allowed into the chatzer, into the courtyard, went into the courtyard. Harai l'gina, if you were a little higher class, then you were fit to go into the garden, you were brought into the garden. Harai Labisan, and those of the highest class, if they were fit to be brought into the palace itself, they went into the palace itself. There were different classes in different areas of the party based on what class you were in. V'chad Amar, and the other one says, Hoshivan b'chatzer, that what it means is originally he put everyone in the chatzer in the courtyard. But there wasn't enough room, it didn't hold them. So Begina, so he opened up the gardens also. But there still wasn't enough room. And eventually he allowed them even into the palace. And then there was enough room. I guess either everyone was moved into the palace, there was enough room, or it was between all the different places there was enough room. Then there was enough room. B'masni satana, and a brayse was taught. Hoshivan b'chatzer. He put them, what it means is he put them in the courtyard. And he opened up two doors. Echad l'gina ve'echad l'bisan. One to the garden, one to the palace. So that's b'chatzar. And he put them in the courtyard, ginas bisan. And then they had the choice between going into the garden or into the bisan, into the palace. Okay, then it describes the beauty of what things looked like. So it says chur, karpas, techelas. It said there were hangings of chur, of karpas, and of techelas. Techelas is the blue wool, like we talked about, but we don't know exactly what chur and karpas is. So my chur, what are hangings of chur? So Rav Amar chari chari. Rav says it's hangings that were chari chari. They were made of like holes. They were full of holes in a nice way. It was some kind of tapestry that involved spaces in it. Shmuel Amar milas levana hitzia lahem, that he put white, either I think cotton or wool, hangings. That's what it means. Chur from the word chiver, which means white. Okay, then there was also karpas, hangings of karpas. What's karpas? It's not a potato or a celery. So Amar Rabbi Yossi by Chanina, karpas is karim shel pasim, pillows of pasim. Pasim, I think, different ways to translate it. I would translate maybe as stripes, like the kison is pasim, the striped coat. So it was, he put pillows of, striped pillows. Okay? And then it says that they were on Gilile Chesef. They were on, these are the hangings, they were on Gilile Chesef, silver rods, Ve'amudei Sheshing, marble pillars. Okay, and then there were Mitos Zahava Chesef. The pasuk goes on and says there were beds or couches of gold and silver. So which ones were they? Gold? Were they gold ones, silver ones, both? So Tanya, we're learning a brayser of Yudah Omer, Haray l'kesef, haray l'zav, l'zav. That some of the beds, some of the couches were gold, some were silver, depending on who you were. If you were fit for silver, you got silver. If you were fit for gold, you got gold. Amar lo Rabbi Nechemia. So Rabbi Nechemia said, "Im king, if there were different couches for different people, gold and silver, atamat alkina besuda. There's going to be jealousy in the feast, and that's going to take away from the joy that he's trying to create. So it can't be that some people got silver, some people got gold. Now it could be earlier when we said there were different sections, that there we didn't have this question, because as long as you're in different rooms, you're not jealous, even if there's different classes. But if you're in the same room and some people silver, some people gold, so that's going to create jealousy. So rather, Elohim shel kesef v'raglein shel zav. What it means that the mitos, the couches were silver and gold, it means the body of the couch was silver and the legs were gold. They were silver and gold. Okay. And it says it was on a floor of bahat vashesh. Bahat and marble. What's bahat? So Amar of Asi, avanim shemischotetos al balein. So the word bahat is similar, I guess, to the word mischotetos. Which from Rashi sounds like it means like they take a lot of effort to get. They really searched hard for them, and that they would look. these were stones. The floor had stones and it had marble, and also had other stones that were very desired, basically. So it says, Avnei Nezer Misnosisos al Admaso. So this is a pasuk in Zechariah. It's talking about the Jewish people, and it's saying they are like stones of crowns that Misnosisos al Admaso, that you have to you like test. They're testing on the ground, meaning they're difficult to mine for, to get to. And so that, I guess, is the kind of stones we're talking about, things that were so desired that it's worth putting in a lot of effort to get them. Okay, then it says, also the floor was ritzvas bahat v'sheish, it was bahat, which we were just describing, these stones, and sheish and marble, vidar v'sochares. What's dar v'sochares? Rav Amar dari dari. Rav says dar means dari dari, meaning it was rows. That the stones were in rows. V'sochares means in round rows, so like circles, in rows of circles. Ushmuel Amar Even Tova Yesh B'Krach Hayam, that there's this very nice stone out in the islands of the sea. V'darashma, it's called Dara. Hoshiva B'Emtza Suda, and they put this stone in the middle of the feast. It was such a beautiful stone. It would light up. I don't know if you need a light to reflect off of it, maybe, but it would light up like midday, and the word sochares is like a language of shining, I guess. So it was dar v'sochares. The dara stone was sochares, was shining. That's another interpretation. Debei Rabbi Shmuel Tana, in the Beis Medrash of Rabbi Shmuel, they taught shekara durar l'chobale schora, that they announced that there was dar v'sochares is I guess a hint to the idea that they announced duror, which means freedom, to the sochares, to the sochrim, the merchants. What does it mean they announced freedom to the merchants? So that they relaxed the taxes of merchants. So this was a way, I don't know if it means the merchants didn't have to pay tax or they didn't have to charge tax, but this was a way of, probably didn't have to pay tax, I don't know if merchants charged tax in those days. This was a way of, again, appeasing people, that it's being hinted to in this pasuk, that there was duror, with dar v'sochares means there was duror l'schora, that there was a relaxation, there was freedom for the merchants. Again, Achashverosh's goal here is to make everybody happy. Okay, we didn't really discuss why. That's something that the commentaries on the Megillah discuss, why he was trying to win people's favor over, to prevent rebellion, to merge, to solidify his kingdom. But he wanted to make people happy. Okay, then it says, V'hashkos b'chlei zahav, and he gave to drink from gold vessels, v'kelim mikelim shonim, and from vessels of kelim shonim, of either different vessels or old vessels. So the Gemara says if it means different ones, mishunim mibayle, it should have said different vessels, mishunim. So Amarava, why does it call them kelim shonim? Amarava, Yatzta Baskol, a heavenly voice came out, ve'amar lahem, and I announced to the people there, Rishonim kalu b'nei kelim. The earlier ones, meaning Belshazzar, was destroyed because he took out the vessels of the Beis HaMikdash, like we discussed in the last Amud. Ve'atem shonim bahem. And you guys are shonim, you're repeating it. Shonim can mean like to repeat. So you're repeating it. That's why they were called kelim shonim, because it's hinting to this idea that a heavenly voice came out and said, you're shonim, you're repeating this mistake. Okay, then it says, V'yei malchus Rav. There was wine of the kingdom, Rav, great. So Amar Rav says, Milamed, this teaches, Shekol echad ve'echad hashkeu yayin shegadol himenu b'shanim. That Rav, much here means it was that everybody had wine that was older than them. That's what Rav here means. It means older. It was everybody's wine was older than them. V'ashasiyah chadas einones. Now the drinking, the pasuk continues and says the drinking was chadas. It was like according to the law. Einones. Nobody was forced to drink. What does it mean? My chadas. What does it mean according to the law? What law? Reb Chanan mishum Reb Meir kadash shel Torah. It was like the law of Torah, meaning ma dash shel Torah achila meruba mishasiyah. Just like by the law of Torah, there's more. The eating is more than drinking. What does that mean? It's a reference to the karbanos that the libations are always much less than the carbon, the offering itself. The wine libations are always much less. So the eating is always of the mizbeach, of the altar, is more than the drinking. That's how it was at the Suda, at the Achashverosh's feast. The eating was more than the drinking. That way you could drink more. So just like in the Torah, meaning by karbanos, there's the eating, the mizbeach receives more than it drinks. So also at the feast of that wicked person, that wicked man, the eating was more than the drinking. Einones, nobody was forced. What does that mean? This teaches everybody was given to drink from the wine of their country. In other words, what it means by einones was nobody was forced to get drunk. If you drink a wine that you're not used to, you get drunk more easily. But everybody was given wine that they were more familiar with, and that way they wouldn't get drunk as easily. Also, some point out this is an indication of Achashverosh's reach and his power. He's trying to show, I reach all the lands. I can import wine from anywhere. Okay, lasos kirton ish v'ish. Then it says to do like the will of every man. Ish v'ish. So what's this ish v'ish, like every man? So Amarava lasos kirton Mordechai v'Haman. To do according to the will of Mordechai and Haman, meaning Mordechai and Haman were the ones serving the wine at the Suda. T'chsiv, as it says, ish yudi. It says in the Megillah, ish yudi hayah b'shushan b'ira u'shmo Mordechai. There was a ish, a man, a Jewish man, and his name was Mordechai. So ish is a reference to Haman, to Mordechai. And Haman, it says ish tzar ve'oyev. Later it says a man who's tzar ve'oyev, who's an adversary and an enemy, it calls him an ish too. So lasos kirtzon ish v'ish, to do according to the will of each man, was means that the people serving the wine were Achashverosh and Mordechai. Sorry, not Achashverosh, Mordechai and Haman. And probably each had their own reason that they wanted to be the ones to serve the wine. Haman probably wanted to get people drunk so they would sin. Mordechai wanted to serve the wine so that it would be a Jew pouring the wine, and that way at least it would prevent less transgression. Okay, Gam Vashti Amalkas Samishtei Nashim. Then the Megillah says Vashti, the queen, also made a feast for women, Beis Hamalchus, by the house of the king of the kingdom of the king. So the Gemara says Beis Hanashim Ibayile. She should have made it in the house of the women, in the women's section, in the women's quarters or whatnot. So why is it Beis Hamalchus that she made her feast by the king's house? So Amar Rava, so Rava explains Shnei Ledvar Aveira Niskavnu, that both intended for Averas to take place, for sins to take place. Both Achashverosh and Vashti were hoping for sins, and that's why she made her party nearby. Either because some say I think she originally intended to come before Achashverosh, in the nude, or just that they would have the man and women near each other would be able to bring about more sin. Hainu damri inshi, and that's what people say. The expression. This is a manifest. This is an expression of the expression ihu b'kari v'itse bibotzini. That he with kari with a large gourd and her with a small gourd. Meaning that husband and wife kind of have the same intents, and just sometimes he has it's a bigger gourd, but she has the small gourd, but really they have the same goal here. This is a expression of that both Vashti and Achashverosh both wanted to cause sin at this feast. Okay, which brings us to the top of 12b, and we'll hold here.